Just check everything. So these show notes have to come out of here. And they have to go into here. And that is fine. And that I will not worry about too much. We can get rid of that as well. And then let's go there actually. We can set up the
sub.
Sorry, man?
I should probably sub so I don't have to see ads.
Oh no, it's what on Twitch?
Yeah.
Oh, I've never actually seen the ads work. So I kind of didn't know they did. Let's get rid of you. Let's move you over there. Let's move you over there. Let's move you there. We'll come to that. Click continue. You're there. And as far as Windows concerned, Rob Williams Day in the chat. How you doing, Rob? You all right?
Hello, Rob.
Cool. Let's kick that. We're just checking everything is live and working. And then we'll get started. Looks like chat's working on the screen as well. Everybody can hear me and Ben, hopefully. And
if there's any audio issues, please feel free to shout it out in the chat. We can fix it right away.
Let us know. Let's check that as well. Rob, Matt's BBL in the chat as well. Fantastic. Sweet. So let's begin then, Ben. You all set with show notes? Got everything? You all happy?
Yep, everything's good to go.
Aha, fantastic. Wagwan, Stephen Knowles. How you doing?
Said the Bend, which is quite funny because Alison described this as the Bonehead podcast once. And
I think it's only a matter of time before that's going to get good. Right, Matt says audio is good. So right then, Ben, let's begin. I'm just going to start the recording, which is always very important because we're going to have to filter this later. Let's go. Hey everybody, welcome to episode 46 of the Bonehead podcast, where we are talking all things Blood Bowl. Welcome back. I'm Ben, and once again, I'm joined by Blood Tithe Ben.
Hello, hello.
How you doing, man? You okay?
Yeah. Really excited to do the first live Bonehead podcast.
I know. It's very, very, very cool. We've got people in chat already, which is pretty sweet. Rob says, Ben and Ben, you know this is public. We do indeed. Yes, so this is our first live show. We thought, as we've been doing a bunch of stuff streaming-wise and everything, we might as well just give it a go because seemed like a fun thing to do. How do you feel about going live with the show today, Ben?
I'm a big fan. Like I love a bit of streaming, bit of Twitch, a bit of Facebook, YouTube. You know, it's all really good, and I think this will be quite fun. Get a bit of audience engagement with whoever wants to chime in.
That's what I'm looking forward to. What do we got in chat? We've got Matt's BBL, we've got Rob Williams Days, we've got Stephen Knowles, Pennsylvania. I've pre-ordered. Excitement. Who else has got their? Who's that? I can't quite see. Dan Brooks, I think. Excitement. Who else is there pre-ordering? So yeah, it's all very exciting. So we're going to move straight on to news.
Okie dokie. What have we got up first?
You cut straight in on top of the fancy new video, Ben.
Oh, yeah, see, I'm still getting used to this. This is where we'd edit that out in a regular show. But...
No, it's fine. We're still going to do that. I'm still going to cut the recordings in bits, so we'll take little breaks between some of the segments, just so it makes it slightly easier for me to edit. Afternoon, Zephyr baby, Mitch Wade, how you doing? Steve Burton in chat. It's nice to see everybody there. So, news. First up, Ben, what have we got for us? What's the first thing on the news list?
Yeah, the first thing is from Games Workshop, a Sunday preview, Cornwall General. So this is from the 28th of June. So this is for the Age of... Well, start with, it's the Age of Sigmar General's Handbooks.
Yeah, I know.
We've got Age of Sigmar out there.
It's just dropped as well, but the big news.
Yes, below that is the new Blood Bowl Spike.
So the big news was the brand new team. In theory, there was a new team introduced to Blood Bowl, and a bit of a rejig of the old team. We're going to talk about that in detail later on in the show because, we've had some practice games, haven't we, Ben?
Yes, yeah, some hilarious practice games.
we got some good practice in. I played some new Underworlds on Blood Bowl 2 as well, just to try out the different thing. So yeah, we've got a spike, and the spike should be dropping this Saturday. So I'm assuming, from what I can see in chats, there's a load of people who've already got theirs in. Rob himself has got his copies into his shop. I'm hoping that Entoyment has their copies tomorrow, so that I can bounce over and we can do a nice video review of those as early as we can. But yeah, we've got a brand new team, which is the Old World Alliance. Now, I did a quick breaking news update when this landed, but let's talk about it in a bit of detail now, Ben. What do you think of the Old World Alliance?
I think it's a really, really fun addition to the game. I mean, it's like we're a big fan of mixed teams, and this is like more mixed teams, you know, in the same vein of Underworld and Chaos Pact, and it's kind of just like the sort of less, it's kind of less wild, more kind of solid, but still really quite a fun mixed bag.
Yeah, it's a very cool thing. So disclaimer, we're going to try and be positive about the new teams, about the changes, because they're here. And as far as new people are concerned for Blood Bowl, that's what's what. So the Old World Alliance is a mixture of dwarves, humans, with a sprinkling of halflings, and you do get an ogre. So it's a bit of everything except elves, which I think is very important. They've got an interesting caveat to their team. So Pact and Underworld, who are mixed teams as well, they have animosity. These guys do not have animosity. They just have a ton of loner, basically, which makes them play really, really interestingly. I was a bit surprised at that. On paper, the team looks mighty, but in practice, it's pretty reasonable. You get one of the positionals, and we are going to go into it in detail, but I think it's quite interesting that they've gone this route, and it's completely come out of left field. They showed the spoilers for Snotlings. I'm still waiting for Snotlings. Then they dropped this. I mean, why do you think that is, Ben? Any ideas?
I mean, there's we said this before, where we had our tournament in January where we had sort of mixed sprues, and I know Blitz Bowl has had a big resurgence in the US, particularly, obviously, where it's sold. It's really popular.
We still got that copy for us to try out, you know.
Yeah.
As soon as we can.
I do wonder if this is kind of with bearing that in mind, where people might have a Blitz Bowl human team and a Blitz Bowl dwarf team or something like that, and it's their way of getting into Blood Bowl. They already have the sort of sprue of each. Now they can just have a Blood Bowl team. Yeah,
which I think is, I mean, Rob's put in chat that he thinks it might be a bit of a love letter to the Bonehead podcast. But the whole one sprue mixed team thing definitely feels like a love letter to your Hangover Bowl, man, which I'm excited about.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that was good fun. It worked really well, and having an official team, which is kind of just a hybrid, it's just more options, and I think it's good. It's more options without necessarily having to get more stuff, and I think that's quite cool. Yeah,
it's unusual. It's more ways to play the game, and that's one of the key. I mean, more Blood Bowl is more better. Has been our tagline ever since I forgot how to use the English language one episode, and it's kind of stuck. And more teams is more better, technically. There's more variation for you to play against. Variation is absolutely huge for us. So Middenheim Maulers is their name team, but the Old World Alliance is the team type. And it is one human blitzer, one dwarf blitzer, one thrower for the humans, one runner for the dwarves, one slayer for the dwarves, up to 2 dwarf blockers, up to 2 halflings, unlimited human lineman, and an ogre. So it's got a bit of everything. That's very interesting. Talking about things that are very interesting, the other big change to come out of this was that the Underworld denizens had a bit of a change. What happened to them, Ben?
Yeah, so they had a bit of a mix-up to sort of accommodate the Games Workshop sprues.
Oh, good pun there. Like
that. Yeah, they took off a blitzer and swapped it for a gutter runner, and I think also a thrower to a line rat.
Yeah, so we were talking about sprues. What they've done is, instead of having 2 blitzers, 2 throwers, 2 linemen, they've just said, look, you get what's on a Skaven sprue. So half a Skaven box is half your Underworld team. So like Ben says, 3 linemen and a gutter runner, a blitzer and a thrower. So you lose a thrower, you lose a blitzer, you replace them with a gutter runner and a 3rd lineman. And it changes the team a bit. It changes the team quite a bit. I don't think it massively affects it in power level, but it does definitely affect how it plays. I guess it's not as brawly. It's definitely dashy. It's interesting, and I know I said we were going to try and be positive, but what one thing that's come out for the entire time BB16 has been there is why can't you have a team in a box? You know, I always have to go and buy my second box to fill out my positionals. So it feels like they said, look, just one box, Underworld, there's all your goblins, there's all your positionals, off you go, all you need to get is the troll. But then with the Old World Alliance, they've got players in there that are surplus, because it looks like the box is going to come with possibly 3 halflings, and you can only take 2, and it definitely comes with 3 dwarf blockers, and you can only take 2. So it's a bit of a mixed message. I don't know, what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's just a balance thing more than anything. Like, kind of like it's not like, it would be worse, I think, if it was the other way around, where like you'd had to get an extra player, which currently the Underworld team, you could argue, is, if you're going from Games Workshop models. But like having surplus, I don't think is too bad, because I do feel like these were perhaps designed for players who already had the models in the first place.
Yeah, and this is a real quick way to get in there. With a team, you get all the positionals. It's interesting. It's interesting. The argument there, it's all over the internet, whether you're on Twitter or Facebook. I'm probably on the Talk Fantasy Football forums as well. It's a peculiar change, but it is a change. And you know what? In professional sports, things change. Players retire. Some teams that were good are no longer good. Some years, the Patriots don't make it to the Super Bowl. And things do change. So we're just going to have to look at this as the fact that actually, if you're playing in Blood Bowl 16 Rules World, your Underworld team now has a gutter runner, and that's fine. So other things that come out, they've got the team card pack for Old World Alliance. I have picked that up. It's the only team card pack I've picked up, and I just thought I'd give it a look over. They've got a pretty cool pitch, half road, half Underworld, mutation, warp stone kind of look. What do you think to the pitch, man?
I think they're really solid pitches. I quite like them, that there's not like, you know, too much going on. You can't see it. They're pretty clear.
Yeah, I like the road.
I do actually really like. Yeah, I like the road one too. I think it's really cool.
It looks really clear. Now we've got a pitch to try out, so when I get to Entoyment, we'll be checking that through, and we will be giving the pitch away. I've got something up my sleeve, but we'll announce that in a couple of days. But yeah, so that is it for Games Workshop news. I mean, I know they had a little article basically talking through mixed teams, and how it came out was they're getting mixed teams, but it wasn't mixed teams rules. It was just the mixed teams themselves. Rob in chat says, shame there's no dice. It is a shame there's no dice. I made the pre-order, and I was like, oh, I forgot to put the dice in. And no, they've dropped 2 teams with no dice. So it seems a bit harsh.
A bit unusual. It could just be related to obviously production's been more difficult lately. Might just be related to that. Yeah, and
there's a lot of rumours around the fact that this might have been bumped up over the Snotlings because they already had a surplus of miniatures. They had a surplus of sprues for these, but then there's loads of counterpoints that say that the models are produced in England now, they're not produced abroad. So I don't know. They're all pretty good theories, and I do love a good conspiracy theory, especially when it is to do with Blood Bowl. So yeah, it's an interesting one. But that is it for Blood Bowl in Games Workshop land. There's a couple of other bits though, isn't there? Oh, the Akaro dice. Ben, have you had a chance to have a look at the bugs that the Akaro guys are spoiling at the moment, because the Kickstarter is coming soon?
I have, yeah. They're a little bit freaky.
Okay, so what did we have last episode? Was it sharks?
Oh, yeah.
All right. We had sharks last episode, and this time we've got the cast from A Bug's Life.
Yeah, pretty much.
Or ants. I'm not sure which one's which, but this is a super stylized ant team. They look well sculpted. so far, that's all I can really say. They look well sculpted. It's definitely not a team for me, but it is just ants, anthropomorphized ants that look like they're straight out of a DreamWorks movie.
Yeah, it's the render and like the rendered textured paint job on them really makes them like look like an animation. Kind
It
of like
does.
a mid 2000s animation, or maybe even like late 90s. You know?
Honestly, it is Bug Life or the movie Ants. That's exactly what it is. It's crazy, but it's if it's your bag, it's quite cool. I mean, we've seen all kinds of Blood Bowl teams, haven't we? We've seen the My Little Pony one. We've seen a whole bunch of different ones. This, keep an eye out for it. Insect Bowl from a Caro studio. If you're into, maybe good if you've got kids. Maybe. Craig Nash in chat. Hey Craig, how you doing? Loved your entry. The dice got released ages ago. They're pricey. You can find them on eBay. Catching the stream late. Been painting a human thrower. Fantastic. Have you been painting the human thrower for the Old World Alliance? Is the question. Yeah, they released the Underworld dice a while ago, and then they became massively overpriced on the second-hand
More
market.
valuable than gold, I think.
I think so. I think they were the glow-in-the-dark dice as well. So,
I think they were.
but I'm just surprised to see they haven't released a dice set for Old World Alliance. But there are loads of dice out there. So what can you do? And I think we've got one more bit. And it is the Kraken Fantasy Stadiums Kickstarter. This landed, I think, it feels like it landed today.
Yeah, or soon, recent at least.
I have not seen this, but it came up in our group chat. So the Kraken Fantasy Stadiums is another 3D print Kickstarter. So this is, you are backing this to get STL files, and the STL files are for a whole bunch of pitch sections, including a raised middle one where you can get your logo added, which is very, very cool. I mean, I know that's something we're going to do, Ben.
Yep,
get some middle sections with the Bonehead Podcast logo on. Could be really cool. And then it's got a whole bunch of outside sections as well. You've got the stands, you've got the fences around the edge, you've got lamps and lanterns and little shops. It even comes with a bunch of civilians and a scoreboard.
It's got everything. It's really, really cool, and it's really good value. It's like €30 for everything. Like all the minis, the entire lot.
Yeah, £27 for access to absolutely everything. Now, you crunched the numbers very, very briefly, didn't you, on how much it would cost to print an entire Blood Bowl pitch like this?
Yeah, in terms of raw material, like let's just guess all of it together weighs a kilo, maybe 2 kilos.
Oh, that's crazy.
It's just assuming. I don't know how. I've never printed anything this large before, but let's say it uses a whole spool of plastic. Plastic is around it's around £20 per kilo.
Yeah.
So that's why just going on pure material alone, it's probably anywhere between £20 and £50.
Okay.
That's not factoring in the several weeks it will probably take to print everything.
And that is exactly what I was going to go and add in. So, on the one hand, if I could get this pitch and these stand bits for 50 quid, let's say £70 with postage, that would be sweet. Getting it for £27 and then having to pay that amount of money to build it, okay, that takes it up to £70-80. That's very reasonable. But with 3D printing, that's going to take, what, a month to print?
Probably won't take that long, but it's going to take a fair while. I think it's still worth it. It's still pretty good value for what you get. And the minis as well, you could probably print a good batch of them for not that much.
Yeah, the miniatures are very, very cool. You get civilians, you get ogres, you get referees and things. I like, I think it was Ian Warham in the probably in the Discord or our group chat, was saying, don't worry about the pitch for now, just print the stuff around the edge.
Yes.
Print the stuff around the edge and just apply it to your mat. He did kind of point out that between us we've got more than enough pitches.
Exactly. And Robert Williams Day in chat as well, saying you don't have to print it all at once, you can do it over time. Exactly. Like Ben said, I'll start with the extras like the scoreboard, and then just build it up, paint it up at a slow pace, and it'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, it is probably the best pitch I've seen. I know that the Leprechaun Kickstarter had a pitch as well, and Ian Triplow's printing that. That's really cool. That's a stone effect. This looks like a proper pitch. Like this is bits of earth. It looks like rugged dirt, and it's got interchangeable sections, so you can take it apart, put it together. It is 34mm scale. It is really interesting. It's been really well done. The price is reasonable. If you've got a 3D printer, for £27, it comes with those miniatures as well. So it's not just the pitch. You get the extras. You get the crowd pieces, the barrels. The middle bit of the pitch. There's a lot to love about this.
Yeah,
the little flags and things. It's really interesting. They've done a lot, and they've done a lot of work. And
it's also good. There's a lot of good scatter, because they all come with scatter terrain bases as well. So you don't have to have the big modular base. You can put it on an existing pitch, or you could just use it in like war games.
Yeah, I hadn't even considered that, man. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Because the other thing is that if you were any good at casting, you could print one off, and then you could, with using some kind of silicon mold, you could quickly cast up more pieces to make a pitch, and that's what I reckon we should do as a group. Because you print some stuff, I'll cast some stuff, we'll all have a pitch in no time at all. Or, for future tournaments, we could all have very, very, very cool pitches for our tournaments. And that is something I'm very excited for. But on the news front, I think that's everything, Ben. Is that right?
Yes, yeah, that's everything.
Okay, cool. So we're just waiting for the Snotling news more than anything then.
Yeah, I know. I'm really, really, really excited for that release. That's going to be a quick emergency broadcast, I think.
Oh, absolutely. We're just going to absolutely farm those games in. A couple of bits in chat. Rob says, nice minis too. Craig Nash, it's very nice, but more a novelty. Yeah, it is a novelty.
Absolutely.
It's more... If this had landed before the lockdown, I think there'd be a load of really nice pictures out there. And Dan Brooks, waiting for my Grebo Orc team. Very nice. Not a fan of the Bugs Life team. My son isn't, but he is a Skaven coach. Yes, glad to hear that. Love Skaven. Okay, so we will move on to hobby. Okay, hobby time. Ben, what have you been up to?
Quite a lot, as usual, as is the case during lockdown. Lots of time to hobby. Yeah. Big thing at the moment is Middle-earth.
Oh yeah, you've gone hard into Lord of the Rings all of a sudden.
Yeah. So Ian Warham Hannam, friend of the podcast, recent guest. Oh,
there you go. There we go. You have achieved full host mode there, using the full tagline and friend of the podcast. That's brilliant. Well done.
Thanks. It's been my dream.
Oh man, you've made it. I need to get you a shirt soon.
Oh, that'd be good. Yeah. Like, long time friend of the podcast. Blood Ben.
Anyway, I've distracted you. Yes.
And Lord of the Rings. Yes, he's. I think he got a bit of birthday money. He was like, I want to get the Lord of the Rings books, the Battle for Pelennor Fields. You want to split it? And I said, yes, I do want to split that. So we split it. And I took the Mordor side. He's taken the Rohan side. And yeah, we're kind of both painting it up, and we're going to have some battles, do some of the scenarios out of the book as soon as lockdown finishes. And it was good fun. It's just nice to paint something so different.
The scale is very, very different. But it's a cool box. You get a load of stuff. You get the Fell Beast. You get some stuff. Yep. Ian gets Troll. The Rohan. The Dol Amroth Knight guys. Do they come in the box? Or did I make that up?
Yes, I think so.
The blue and white guys. So, haven't seen
Ian the Army of the Dead, yeah? Oh, wait, no. No. The other guys. The silver helm looking guys. Anyway, you did a paint stream this week, which I thought was brilliant. Yeah, and I'm looking to do more as well. Like, as soon as I get a free evening, I'll do another one.
Week, but that's
yeah. No, it was really good fun. Like Ian jumped on. We both painted together. He posted his updates. I was doing some live campaign. The VOD's still up on twitch.tv/blood_tide if you want to have a look.
Fantastic. And what we do need to do is get you hooked up with our streaming account so you can farm it off to our YouTube as well. Stark in chat, my two love Blood Bowl and my two loves Blood Bowl and Middle Earth strategy battle game. And Craig Nash, boo Skaven. Disappointing. Craig's a big bash orc guy and a coach. Stark, love to hear that. Yep. So Ben, you're doing a load of work with the Middle Earth, and it's great to see the hobby hangouts. I wish we'd started them sooner.
Yeah, me too.
because I think we missed a trick there, but it's tricky to set up, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a lot of technical stuff that's involved in getting the cameras and the audio right. But I think once it's there, it's good fun. It's actually quite easy. It's quite laid back. But we'll definitely do more. I think it's the start of something. So yeah,
That'd be really, really cool. I painted up some of my Minotaur while you were streaming. For those who are on YouTube, it is the guy in the picture, and I've done way more highlighting that so far. And that's the Minotaur from Windsor Chog. So I picked him up, built him, did the cool time lapse, which actually people said they enjoyed for the unboxing and build video. And it's a lovely model. And now I'm painting it up. It actually looks the pose is it can put people off a bit because he's really hunched over. But the paint's going on him now. The highlights are going on him, and it's a really, really nice model. I finished building all of my Zinch team. So I got 4 Beastmen with extra arms, 4 Chaos Warriors with extra arms, and the Changeling. And I'm thinking of going the same paint scheme, which is dark black highlighted with kind of like a turquoise, especially for the beasts, because I'm really enjoying it.
The best thing with Zinch is you can really do anything. You can go wild because it's all about it's true chaos, isn't it? Zinch, it's unpredictable. You can go as bright as you like, as dark as you like. You can do anything.
I don't think my painting style is good enough to be bright. Agrax covers a lot of a lot of sins. So the darker the Minotaur is giving me an opportunity to do some edge highlighting and just some extreme highlighting. I've never really painted a lot of black before, so it's pretty cool. Couple of things in chat, Craig. Yeah, Squishy Skaven, Orcs go wah. Rob, perfect for renegade teams. Yeah, perfect for renegade teams. And Zephyr in chat. How you doing, Zeph? What's the changeling being used as? The changeling is being used as a changeling. It's the Zinch special teams roster that I've built. Just what needed to build it after watching Alpha Wolf run rampant with them in Lockdown Bowl. Thanks to Rob, friend of the podcast, Rob. Watching that team, I think I got to do coverage of a match, and the big hand on an extra arm on the Beastman is just such a cool position. Oh, there's Matt's BBL. Learn the hard way. Agrax is not meant for light colours. No, Agrax is fine. But actually, Matt's BBL co-commentated this game where the Beastman just swooped in there and picked up this ball in 4 tackle zones and just took a cheeky 3+ out. It's just such a cool build of a team. And I know we're going to be talking about secret teams next episode, Ben. And I think the Zinch team's got to be on there because it's such a very, very, very cool team. So, games. Played any games, Ben?
Yeah, we played last night.
Yeah, we did. It was great. 2 games.
Yeah, really, really enjoyed it. It was the old Underworld off and a bit of the Old World Alliance testing.
Yeah, so we tried out both the new teams from Spike 9, although Chaos Pact are in Spike as well. Rob, I think you can confirm that. We've seen the team thing, but Pact haven't changed at all. It's just that Underworld have now gone to Gutter World, and you've got the Old World Alliance. So we played 1 game with Old World Alliance versus Gutter World, and then 1 OG Underworld versus the new Underworld 2020. And they were both extremely ridiculous matches. They'll be up on YouTube tomorrow morning, or they'll be out now when you're listening. If you're interested to see how Old World Alliance play, check out that first game. We'll talk about it a little bit later, but it is absolutely 150% the loner team. It's all about loner skill. And the Underworld versus Underworld match is just a hilarious game.
There is a clip on that, which I know you've posted.
Yeah. Let's just say throw teammate doing the worst possible thing for your opponent. It's just the best throw of all time.
Depends on how you think about the new Underworld team. You might fall in love with that.
That was old Underworld taking out all of its hatred on the new one. Mm-hmm. Matt's BBO, Gutter World sounds like the world's worst amusement park. Yeah. And we've got the Phil Bifter. Got a couple of the Windsor Chog Oaks as trees for my fling team. Lovely minis. Yeah. I've picked up birch. I don't have the oak one. I went with one or the other. The oak one is on the to buy list. In fact, I picked up
the birch.
Yeah, I went with birch because it just had more mobility to it. But what did I put an order in for a Minotaur and a Troll today as giveaways for prizes in the future. Expert Beard, the best. It was the best moment. The best -1 mutter movement gutter runner is glorious. Yeah, Stephen Knowles, best for the Skaven. Matt's BBO wins a chug, always top quality. Seriously,
Yes, they are.
such good stuff. So yeah, well, you and I got in a couple of games, and I played my zombie versus zombie game in the A Zombie BL, which is a fumble league run by Morpheus,
How
a
did that go?
coach. It was ridiculous. It was such good fun. I'd had such a bad day. Like, just life was just having no fun. Like, it was just a rubbish day, and that game saved me, because when you've got 15 zombies playing Blood Bowl, everything is garbage. Like, everything is,
Oh, yeah.
you know, that in our games, Ben, we were both taking ridiculous risks and taking dodges that should have failed and going for it and things like that. It's all the game is, and when it goes wrong, you don't care, because there are zombies and they just regen. It was so liberating. It's the most liberating game you can play outside of Stunty League, I think.
I'll have to give it a go. I'm a bit gutted I didn't jump in on this. I'll definitely do the next one. Maybe like Skeleton League or something.
Well, we've joked in the Discord that the meta should have been squigs versus zombies, so I think we need to pull that one out at some point as well.
Yeah.
I pulled off a 1-0 win with a defensive touchdown, which was pretty exciting. I think the YouTube replay's live now, and I'm up against Experbeard next. Matt's BBL says we scare off in a couple of weeks. I look forward to that. I look forward to taking you down, Matt. I imagine you will. Craig Dash, every mod I've seen by Wins Jog has been amazing molds. Got to buy one soon, absolutely. And Experbeard, yes, Squig versus zombies. So plenty of games going on, even though we're in lockdown. Very much looking forward to playing a real world game again soon, and yeah, we'll just have to see. We'll just have to see how soon we can get that in. So, anything else, hobby and games wise, in the Blood Bowl world, Ben?
I think that's more or less it, actually. Yeah. I'm just looking forward to painting up some Blood Bowl teams, actually. Like, doing all this Middle-earth, doing a lot of skirmish game stuff. I'm just like, I haven't played Blood Bowl in a long time. So maybe we could do a Zinch painting thing together. I'll paint my Renegade Zinch team. You can paint Zinch team.
That's a great idea. But also, I've got a couple of things for you to print that I'd love to see soon as well. The
yes.
RNE Studio miniatures.
Yeah.
Had a bit of a sale on their 3D just STL files, so I picked up a couple just to see how good at a fabricated general that Ben is when it comes to Blood Bowl, because unlimited mummies could be dangerous.
Yeah, there we go, mummy team.
Yeah,
on the agenda.
That team is missing from the Secret Leagues. Okay, so the first topic that we're going to be moving on to today is going to be our big guy competition. So let's move on to that. Okay, just stop the recording quick for a sec. What we got in chat? Josh De Silva, sorry for late asking, but did they list star players for Underworld or OWA? Yes, we've got them. When we talk about it in the segment, we'll talk through all the star players that are available. There's not a lot, to be honest with you. Exobeard, yeah, we're going to have a zombie group hug. Craig Nash, I'm guessing it will be the Orc star players minus Farag. It's plus loads of chainsaws. Matt's BBO, I think the word you're looking for was Kemri. Now, it's only got 4. It's not enough. That's not enough. So, Ben, before we start the recording, I am going to bring up the entries document.
Yep.
And have you tagged on the document, or have you put it at the bottom, or
at the bottom?
You've got it at the bottom.
I do know which ones they are, though. So
that's fine. I just want to make sure that. Oh my goodness me! How many pages was this document in the end? 60 pages. We had 60 pages of entries for this. This is fantastic.
There's a lot to go through.
Okay, let's have a look at Ben's 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Ben, I had a really tough time. You've picked your number 1?
They're in order.
They're in order. Looks like you've got 4 listed, is that right?
Oh, yeah, I've got a top 4, yeah.
Okay, you've got the effort mention. I like that. So that one. I liked that one as well. So let me pull out my 3 as well. That's 1. This one has to be the other one because that was just insane. Not sure. I don't think you picked that one. You didn't pick that one. Oh, which means there is a tough double choice there. It's got to be this one, I think. It's tough. There are some really, really insanely good ones. Okay, cool. So we'll do it in reverse order, Ben. Will we get to it?
Yes. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, right. Well, then let's start the recording and bring up the video. Nearly got it. I forgot to remove that bit. Okay, welcome back. Welcome back. It is our first topic for today, which is the big guy competition. So we talked about our top 5 big guys. We talked about it for a long time. I think it went to top 10, didn't it? Yep. We had loads of people help us with that, which was so cool. It's really good to see how wrong I was about some stuff. how much the Beast of Nurgle is loved by the community. Just phenomenal. I thought it was weird that you love trolls that much, but you know.
No, it's not weird. Everyone loves trolls.
Everyone loves trolls. We played plenty of trolls yesterday. Then we thought, let's see what the community has got in the way of homebrewed big guys. And we mentioned it just before we took the break, but we had 60 pages of entries. Like, this was phenomenal.
It was a good read. I really enjoyed it. There was a lot I didn't think people would come up with, so it's been really interesting.
There was some really great stuff. We had an entire team entered, which was amazing. There's people have entered 5-6 really cool ideas. There's cool skills. There's some really sensible ones as well, which I'm a bit surprised at. So everybody out there listening, thank you so much for joining in and for sending in those ideas. I mean, 60 pages equates to probably 50 something entries. It was just phenomenal. So what Ben and I are going to do is we both kind of picked our top 3. It's what we normally do when we have these competitions. And then when it gets to our top ones, we'll roll off probably as best.
That's what we usually do.
Got dice here. So we will roll off for the winner. And the winner will win. It's on the other side of the room. The Rat Ogre, the star player Rat Ogre, the armoured Rat Ogre from the Punga Miniatures Pirates Kickstarter. So Punga sent us a little box of joy, and that's going to be one of the first bits we give away. It's a beautiful model. It's a chunky beast.
Love it.
20 euros on the Kickstarter. It'll be a little bit more than that when it comes out, and it's worth every penny. It's very, very, very cool. Guys in chat saying good luck to all. The sinuses of Blood Bowl is unlimited money. Nice prize. It is a cool little prize. We got a lot. We got a lot of prizes at the moment, so we're going to be doing competitions pretty much non-stop for the next few months. I'm going to try my very best to make sure we've only got one live at any one moment, but I might fail at that. So without further ado, Ben,
yes,
would you like to start us off with your number 3?
Yes. So mine, hang on, I'm just going to get up the description of it. Planned.
I think we'll go 3. I think we'll go number 3 each. We'll go number 2 each. We'll do our honourable mentions, and then we'll go into our top ones. How does that sound?
That sounds like a good idea. It's just because I control left and did the spelling wrong.
That is fair.
Yep.
Oh, those are your top 3. You labelled right. You went to town. You went 6. That's cool. Yep, that is a very cool one.
Bear with me, guys. Trying to find it on the sheet. The control F is not working. This is the beauty of live shows.
Well, it's all right. It's just that it's on page 44, Ben.
Page 44.
It's on page. It's on actually on page 44.
Right. Okay. So this is from Stuart. It is Bustuarius, I'm going to say, is how you pronounce it. Bustuarius.
Hey.
Yeah. So this he's got a little description, so I'm going to start by reading that out. So he says, in the glory days of Tilea, powerful enemies captured in battle were taken home to fight in the Tilean arenas, such as Bustuarii, a kind of gladiator. The tradition vanished with the waning of Tillian influence, but some necromancers know the rights to recall the spirits of these ferocious captive fighters, and the potential on the Blood Bowl fields is a draw for coaches. They wield the locks and chains that bound them in their arena cells, an ethereal weapon which is thereby hard for referees to confiscate or even prove the existence of.
I like
So
that.
this is an interesting player. He is movement 6, strength 5, edge 5, and armor 8.
So 6'5", 5'8". That's a beast.
Yes, it's a beast. However, where it's interesting is his skills. He has Titchy, No Hands,
There you
Regeneration, Loner, Mighty Blow, Foul Appearance, and Frenzy. So this is basically a souped up ethereal team player. And if anyone's watched or had experience with the Secret League, there is a team on there, the ethereal team, who have No Hands like linemen, and they've got some Titchy players, Edge 5 Titchy, so they dodge everywhere like ghosts. But yeah, they can't pick up the ball because
they've got no hands.
Ethereal.
It's a very interesting team. I think we have one in both Lockdown Bowl and our Fumble tournament on Bonehead Bowl as well, because they're such an interesting team.
Yes, and they have foul appearance as well, because I think it's kind of to indicate you can't quite punch them. You know, it's like there's a chance you just go through. So it's a really interesting concept for a big guy, because you've got this player who can kind of dodge into tackle zones really easily without having to rely on break tackle or anything like that. And he's just going to be really annoying. He's quite fast. He's strong. He's got Mighty Blow and Strength 5. He's got Frenzy, so he's not going to, he can kind of push people out of cages, which I think is really interesting.
So that is interesting. So he is basically a Strength 5 Spirit Host from the Ethereal team. That's all he is.
Pretty much, yeah.
With Mighty Blow and Frenzy. So he does have a suggested miniature, which is Crawlock the Jailer, which I do have on the screen now for those of you who are watching live on one of the stream channels. And yeah, I think you're probably going to carry on and explain why this miniature, Ben. Is that right?
Yes. So he mentioned in the description that he wields the locks and the chains. And he's also said that Strength 5 and Mighty Blow come from the chain and the lock that he's carrying. So yeah, it's just a really cool choice, and having the model as the inspiration and having the backstory for it, the gladiatorial theme comes in there. I think he's just put a lot of effort into the design of this, and I think it's really interesting and really just a real different big guy.
Absolutely. I love these models. I'm going to stop looking. I think we're going to have to bounce back off that page.
The whole Nighthawk range is beautiful.
Yeah, and they're just prime for Blood Bowl. I know that Rob's built a Vampire team using some of them as well, which is cool. What was the nega trait, says Matt's BBL?
Well, he has no hands and loner, if you can say that. So he hasn't got a nega trait, but he said they play for Necromantic and Vampire. Necromantic, probably quite strong. I think on a Vampire team, it's really quite cool because they're obviously a bit of a lower tier.
So we had so many suggestions for Vampire teams.
Yeah.
I think Vampire team is absolutely gagging for something exciting, like a big player. And this fits really well. Ben, that is an absolutely brilliant choice.
Yes, I would suggest, though, that is a good point with the nega trait. I would probably put Wild Animal on it for balance. Probably because it even says in the description. Yeah, because it says in the description they're trapped spirits of ferocious captive fighters. I think it kind of fits that.
Yeah, the wild makes a lot of sense, I suppose, for that one.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. That's very cool. Rob in chat. Matt's BBL says cages beware. Absolutely. And Rob says it'd be cool to see what Games Workshop do with vampires. Marcus DeCole, how you doing? Cage cracking superstar, absolutely,
definitely.
How much was that star player, Ben?
I think he was 160. Yeah, that's on the expensive end.
Yeah, it's cheap. It's cheaper than a Bloodthirster, on the same price as a Bloodthirster. I can't remember how much Bloodthirsters are now.
180.
Oh,
yeah. I think maybe if it's with the no lack of nega trait, you probably could do 180. I think it would be an expensive but very effective player.
I think so. Cool. So my number 3 is from Exmobeard. He submitted one and then changed it up ever so slightly. So I'm going to pop a miniature up there that he suggested was the one to use, which is the basically his suggestion is a big frogging toad, and this one, the Morgan Frogs team miniature, I think fits that really well. So he said slightly revised as it was oddly good. So 0 to 1 big frogging toad, 5528. Okay, quite low on the armor. Edge 2. It has got really stupid and loner, so it's a troll level here. Extra arm / tongue, which I like. Foul appearance, leap, mighty blow, prehensile tail / tongue, and very long legs. So basically the rationale is that a big toad should be able to snatch the ball from air like it's a fat juicy fly, but doesn't necessarily have to get off its lazy backside to do it. Made it really stupid because, come on, you don't want a big guy to pick up the ball on 3+ and make off without any serious risks. Also makes, he's put death from above / leaping with it a bit more balanced. Still not great, but is massively fun and still in line with the Slan design. So the Slan team runs a Croxigore. So this thing for 150k, still got prehensile tail, still got mighty blow, loses bonehead but gains really stupid, which I think is a big hit. But
you think this is more of an issue than I do?
Only because of every time I play, it's a massive issue. It doesn't matter. I know it doesn't matter. On a 1, it always fails, but it just means it's always a 1 when it's really stupid. Extra arms with Edge 2 means you are picking up a ball on a 3+. Prehensile tongue keeps them in place. Foul appearance is fun. Probably could drop foul appearance, but being able to leap in with a big guy on a 4+. That could be really interesting, and I love it. I think it fits the Slan team better than the Croxigore does.
I agree. Yeah, I would much rather have something like this on the Slan team than the Crocs.
Yeah, exactly. It would fit way better. Got a couple of things in chat. David Pug, what are we talking about here? Custom star players. Yes, we had a star player design competition, and we're going through some of the top entries now. Big theme points there from Matt. Can't think of another frog pun. I'm hopping mad. Terrible Rob Williams day. Crocs sticks out like a sore thumb. Yeah. And Expert Beard, he's in chat. Says, thanks for featuring my horrid creation, mates. No, it was a great entry.
Yeah, it's nice to see some Slan love as well.
Yeah, love a bit of Slan. It's quite an interesting team. He says he still believes it's better than a Croxigore. I think it is better than a Croxigore. But, really stupid. It's one way or the other. So that is my number 3, Ben. Over to you.
Okay, so I will go to my number 2, which I have put as a halfling star player.
Oh,
I can find this one.
I think I know which one it's going to be.
This is by Steve, and it is the Springy Sapling.
Let me see if I can. You start talking through it. I'll see if I can get the picture up.
All right, so this is for the Springy Sapling. It's for halfling teams. You can have 0 to 1. It's 100,000 gold pieces. That's a fair bit cheaper than a tree man. It's movement 4, strength 5, edge 1, armor 9. So it's a bit faster than a tree man too. Bit weaker, but it's overall just more like a big guy stat. I think it's troll stats.
Yeah.
It's got loner, nerves of steel, over eager, which is a new one, really stupid, sidestep, strong arm, throw teammate. So it's basically a tree man with really stupid instead of take root, who's really good at throwing guys, but he has this caveat. So I'll do a little before I get to overeager, which he put in, I'll read the little description for him. So he's got, even the mightiest treemen begin their Blood Bowl career as a fresh from the glade greenhorn, and the Springy Sapling is as green as they get. Because the Springy Sapling is a team player and perhaps also suffers from some rookie jitters, they'll often not make a move if they aren't next to a fellow teammate. Sapling isn't really stupid, they just like the company. Watch out though, the Springy Sapling has a lot to prove and tends to get overeager with their throws. So he's given a description of this. So he says, before activating that Springy Sapling, you must roll a d6. On a 1, if there's an adjacent teammate with the right stuff skill, then they are thrown. Roll a d8 on the scatter template for the throw's direction, another d8 for distance, and scatter 3 times before landing. If there's multiple eligible teammates, then a choice is decided by the coach. It doesn't count for the turn's allotted pass action, and if the Springy Sapling's action was already to throw a teammate, throw the desired teammate as normal with an additional 4th scatter.
So that's a very cool rule. So basically, it may just throw the first person it finds, and is in a direction of d8 instead of where you want it to go.
Yes. So you get a cheaper big guy, which is quite cool, and an extra one, essentially, assuming you're on a halfling team with 2 tree men.
Yeah.
With this caveat, so you got to do the really stupid as well as overeager, and overeager could just love your guy, but it could be really good. You could get 2 throw teammate actions in a turn. And And yeah, so it is still on a 1, so it's not, the chances aren't doing, it's not terrible. It's not like you're always throwing teammates.
Yeah.
But yeah, and having the really stupid there is kind of quite cool because it encourages you to have a guy next to him. So he's likely to over eager to actually throw someone. I just think it's really interesting. Yeah, it could break cages. It could really mess up your defense. It could give your halflings an extra 3 movement.
I love that it's got nerves of steel.
Yes.
Because he's got really stupid. And he's over eager, so he may not be doing the things you want him to do. But normally, and you guys in chat will probably, and you guys listening will know that if you've got a throw teammate opportunity coming at you, best thing to do is base their big guys and just make that roll even harder. Because normally, the throw is if it's a big guy throwing it, it's going to be loner. And if you can chuck a few tackle zones on, make that 2+, 3+ pass, a 4+, or 5+, you're in a good position to stop it. And having this just nerves of steel. Even if you don't use the D8 magic throw, which I think is really interesting, because it makes it a tiny trebuchet on your own team. Yeah. Then you've got a positional there that it's really interesting. And movement 4 for a tree man.
Yeah, and he doesn't have to take roots, so he can kind of bounce around. Yeah, and he's got sidestep as well, so he can be really annoying. But yeah, let's also just talk about the art that he's provided here.
I love it. I don't know where the art's from. I don't know if he's drawn it, but it's pretty cool.
He's got to have drawn it. Like, it matches with the font. Let's say he drew it because this looks hilarious. Like, you've got a halfling. People who don't listening on audio, you've got this really lanky tree man. He's looking overconfident with some trainers on, and there's a halfling looking absolutely terrified at him. He knows what's coming.
I know it's got a lot of skills. It's got a lot of potential, and it doesn't have over eager and really stupid are quite serious negatraits.
Yes,
it's not. It's very similar to a troll, if you think about it.
It is.
Edge 1, strength 5, move 4, armor 9. It's a troll that's a bit cheaper, but a bit better. So I think it's probably a little bit undercosted, but it's still
it doesn't have regen though. So as soon as he goes down,
he's staying down.
Paper and regen, yeah.
Oh, I don't know. That is a very, very, very cool one. And
Almighty Blow as well, of course.
I do like the little bit of art, which bodes very well because my next one is on the following page. I'm just going to scroll down, and this is the art for my number 2. You guys on the stream will be able to see this, but this is I'm just going to start reading because this is just a very unique design. So this is from Child of Malkav, and this is the Troll Pogo Chainsawyer. Which I'm really surprised didn't make your top 3. So Troll Pogo Chainsawers are known for trolls, chainsaws, fanatics, and pogo sticks. Only one mad coach ever tried to combine them all, but who is going to stop this player? The answer is himself, always himself. So it's got cost of about 150. Said he wasn't sure on the cost. 4519, which is apparently the stat line to beat at the moment. New skills. So. It's got skills. It's got uncontrollable chainsaw pogoing as a skill. It's got pogo leap as a second skill. Very long legs, dangerously stupid, and no hands. Okay, so for 150k, you've got a troll on a pogo stick with a chainsaw. So I was immediately on board with this one. So here are the skills. Uncontrollable pogoing. The player operates as if it had a ball and chain. So for each point of movement, move it in a direction determined by the throw-in template in an orientation chosen by the player. Should the player enter a square containing another player, friend or foe, pogo trolls are notoriously bad dinner guests and have few friends. Make a chainsaw attack as normal, rolling for kickback and armor as you normally would. Once the attack has been resolved, the target is pushed back and the pogo follows up as in the same way as ball and chains. If the chainsaw backfires, so the troll stays in the same square, roll for armor, etc. So you've got a ball and chain, but with a chainsaw. Okay, so this is absolute murder town. And then the next skill is Pogo Leap. So if the uncontrollable Pogo player wishes, During the pogo movement, instead of moving normally, using ball and chain rules, the pogo player may declare a leap action. Resolve as a normal ball and chain movement using the template, but instead of moving 1 square, it moves 2 squares, ignoring intervening square, same way leap works basically. This action costs 2 squares of movement. If another player is in the destination square, make a chainsaw attack on them as normal, following all the rules, then push them back to allow the pogo to land. The leaping player then must make an agility roll to land as safely as normal. Now this is a agility 1, so very long legs gives this a 5+ chance to land if he uses the pogo to jump onto a player using the chainsaw. Okay. Dangerously stupid. Trolls are already stupid. Just going to let that one sink in for a second there. Ben.
That's fine, I'll patch up my broken
Giving one a pogo stick and a chainsaw is dangerously stupid. Roll really stupid as normal. However, if the test is failed, then the opposing coach may dictate which directions the pogo troll moves in, may choose to go for it or not, or to leap. An opposing coach may only make legal moves, so he cannot drive himself into the crowd. So, notes. Hopefully, despite the number of new or altered rules, the pogo troll should blend together the existing rules fairly easily. This is not a secret weapon because the referees have no desire to get in the way of anything this ridiculous. The armor is reduced to 9 to help reduce the power level. Well, no, the 9 is the same. And he's got loner.
Yeah.
So this is probably the most ridiculous entry. I love it. I think it's brilliant. I think it's just garbage. But this is just, I would buy this miniature. So if there's any miniature designers out there, Pogo Chainsaw, Madman, it's just ridiculous. Ben, this is a troll I would happily play in every team.
Yeah, well, I take that. If that's what it takes, if it takes a pogo troll with a ball and chain movement to get you to like trolls, then it's got to be done. And to be honest, we're fans of the mixed teams on the Bonehead podcast. We haven't really discussed mixed players.
Players, ooh, hybrid players. There you go. That's another one for another episode. So yes, that was my number 2, the troll pogo chainsaw. So you had at least one honourable mention before we moved on, didn't you?
Yes.
It looks like you had a couple actually.
Yeah, I'll talk about one because I think you had an honourable mention too. So the one I just wanted to shout out is Alan. So Alan sent in a whole lot of entries. So I'll just go to his.
Yep.
Oh, he's searching for. I had Pogo on the search. So that's an awful lot of Alan. It turns out it's just because Pogo was mentioned a lot in that last segment. Yes.
You can't knock it.
So yeah, Alan sent in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 entries, I believe.
Oh yes, I know the chap.
Yes, and he gave long descriptions of each of them, all really justified. I think all the players were really quite cool because they all could easily exist in the game. Like compared to the last entry we had, and like a couple of the ones which we mentioned, which is really new and original. I think this was equally as impressive in he just gave so much of really solid entries. I'll say one that stood out, like let's have a look. Like the Slan Goliath, for instance, which is kind of similar to where we had that the frog. I like the entry for the Slan because it takes an existing concept where they have the Croxagore and it gives them something which is really original to the team, and it's like a big Slan. He's got monstrous mouth, so it's another use for that, which is a really good idea on like a big frog. He's also got a female ogre for Amazons, which is quite cool. Instead of just putting an ogre on, he's kind of themed it up to be more Amazonian. It's slightly more agile, slightly less armor.
That was the one that came with dodge.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
It's an edge 3 dodge ogre, basically. And yeah, it's just I just wanted to give him a shout out because it didn't make the top 3. I think just pure wackiness. We had so many entries, some of them just took it, but I just wanted to shout out that we're really grateful for the amount of effort he put in for that. It's a lot of entries and it's really cool.
Love it. My honourable mention, now before we move on, there was a load of, like, all of these entries were really good. There were quite a few Vargulfs. there were quite a few things for Slan team. So I think there's definitely a gap in the market there for Vampires and Slan to have a more appropriate big guy, or just a big guy at all. But on a separate note, my honourable mention was David Burrows, who in my notes made a whole flipping team based on pangolins and just went to town, did a star player, did a big guy, really clever rules, and it's a very interesting team. The way they work together, basically the players affect each other in a way. So the big guy is essentially really stupid unless there's this one particular type of player nearby. It's really, really cleverly put together. And the fact that he's gone and designed an entire team was just absolutely top. But I don't want to take away from anything everybody else done, because there was so many good ideas, so many well thought out ideas, and so many utterly ridiculous ideas. See the troll on a pogo stick. Okay, Ben, should we hit it with your number one?
Yes, I'll go with my number one. So this is from Stevie126, I believe.
Oh yes, we're familiar with Stephen.
Yes, this is the Young Dragon. I really, really like this idea. We don't really have a dragon in Blood Bowl,
No.
which is just really cool to think about. So I'll read his description. In the first 50 years of their lives, the dragons that live on Ulthuan tend to seek glory on the pitch. While this is looked down upon by their elderkin, they do secretly enjoy watching their brood rip and tear through the enemy. While they do have wings, after a match with the Warhammers take to the field entirely in gyrocopters and war balloons, flying of any kind longer than 4 minutes is banned.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, love that.
I just want to see 12 gyrocopters as well.
Oh, I know. Three-dimensional Blood Bowl coming up.
Oh yeah, that'll be. There's another episode idea. Note it down.
Man, we've got like 100 ideas. It's brilliant. Anyway, carry on. Talk to us about the player type.
Right, so this is 6-6-3-9. So you've got a very agile bloodthirster with +1 strength.
Yeah.
So he's 180k as well. He's available to high elves, which already.
There you go. There was a couple of high elf ones. There was a high elf with a giant hat, and there was a great eagle as well. And both those I thought you might fancy, but the young dragon, pretty mighty.
One just takes it. Yeah, it's available to high elves. It has access to strength. Comes with loner, claw, leap, very long legs, thick skull, no hands, and breath weapons. So it does not have the nega trait.
No hands is a nega trait.
We can count that, especially with Ange 3,
Makes it a weapon. That. Makes it a weapon.
Exactly, yeah. Leap, very long legs, kind of
flying.
Give it the wings. Cause it's got, exactly. It's got claw, which he's put in brackets teeth, But breath weapon. This is a new skill he's given, and this, I think, is what just put it to the top of the list, because I thought this was so creative. So breath weapon, extraordinary skill. A player may use this skill if they have not moved. Place the throw-in template over the player facing up or down the pitch towards either sideline. Any player under the template is knocked down on a 4+. Injuries caused by the skill do not grant SVP, and knocking down your own player causes a turnover. I thought that was just a super creative use of the kit, kind of that Blood Bowl's given you. Like, you've already got your throw-in template, you know what that is. Some people have the physical templates too. And it's just a really cool way to use it. Kind of like the bomb, but it's just straight in a front line, and it's like, the front 3 players, D3. But it hits all of them. And yeah, it's just knocked down on 4 players. It's just like cool that you've got that kit. You can blitz him in, you can get really stuck in. He's strength 6 already. You don't have to have horns and stuff like that, so you can still block really effectively.
Yeah. Then
sometimes you have these 3 players. Think of it on the. Think if you have them on the line of scrimmage against 3 players, you can just breathe them down.
but kind of
cool concept.
Appropriate, because it is a dragon. Super powerful. I think definitely needs a nega trait just to balance out a little bit. But the design is brilliant. It's really interesting. And Ben, I dare you to find a dragon that will sit on a 40 mil base.
I'm sure it can be done. It's a young dragon, so there's wormling miniatures and stuff.
Where was the dragon entry for our giant competition? That would have been absolutely flipping perfect.
I think there was at least one dragon. I can't think of it. Yeah.
Okay, so my number one, like I said, there's lots of crazy ideas. There's lots of out there ideas and ways of integrating, like you said, the kit, but the rules. They were sort of the troll with the chainsaw, just piling a bunch of rules together. And my number one is not the flashiest, but I thought it fit really well. It was exciting and just outside of the limits, while being, in my opinion, a very playable piece for some teams that need it. So I think we saw Craig in chat. This is my nomination for number one is Craig Nash. It's the Medusa. So I'm already in because I think the Medusa is just a great fantasy concept. Fits on a 40mm base, fits on a 32, kind of human. I think RNE Studio actually does a miniature that would suit a Medusa as well, which is really
yeah.
I think that's why I was looking at RNE Studio stuff earlier. So the Medusa, 5538. Okay, so strong, as fast as an ogre, agile, armor. So skills: Bonehead, tentacles, snakes, stab, snakes, and it's obviously a big guy, so loner. It says no mighty blow due to stab and petrify. So petrify is a new skill. It acts like stab once per turn, and it causes take root on a player and freezes them in place. And
cool.
Is available for Chaos, Undead, Necromantic, Chaos Renegades, and most importantly of all, Vampires. So,
yes,
like I said, it's not as ridiculous and flashy as some of the ideas, but actually, we've got Stab, we've got Tentacles, they work. Petrify is a new skill based on two old skills. Craig has priced it at 230, which I think is a bit more than it would be as a sort of standard piece. But the fact it's Edge 3 as well, really interesting.
Play the game.
Really, really interesting design, and I would love to play that. I think we've got the Bloodthirster, right? It's one of the top big guys. It's iconic. It does a thing and you're like, oh, that's the Bloodthirster. That's the Bloodthirster. The Bloodthirster has this reputation of being a super player, like War Dancers. You're like, oh god, it's a War Dancer. The Medusa, designed like this, someone would play the Medusa on those teams or whatever, and it would just be a case of, they've got a Medusa. That Medusa is going to do some stuff. It's Edge 3, it's Strength 5, it can do things, but also you get close to it, you've got Stab, you've got Petro Gaze, which is basically what it is, and Take Root, but that keeps them in place for the entire drive. So it's just a really interesting build, and I liked it. It was close, but just tipped it over the edge for me to take my number one. So Ben, we've got two number ones, a whole bunch of great designs. I have a dice. It's here. It's the Bonehead dice. Would you like high or low?
Ooh, I'll go high because of the high up entry.
Okay. Not entirely sure how to put this on camera, so I will just film it on my camera right now on my mobile, just for completion's sake, and you can hear me waffling in the background. Rolls the dice. Literally, that was a cocked dice, which is awkward. Okay. Did you go high or low?
I went high.
You went high, and it was a 5. So
that is high.
I don't know if this will come up on the camera at all. It is a 5. So your guy won, which is Stephen Knowles. So
well done, Stephen.
Stephen Knowles with the dragon wins a prize. So Stephen, I know you're kicking around out there. Drop me a message with your address. Might already have it from the tournament actually, so I can send you your Bonehead Bowl token at the same time, and we'll get you that armored rat ogre out to you. So well done, everybody! Thank you so much for taking part. Let's just check in chat real quick. I like the petrify isn't permanent damage. Absolutely. Marcus says Games Workshop may well add a big guy to the my head's in the way vampire team. Thank you so much, Blood Scythe Ben. That's Stephen Knowles in chat. Craig, so close. Rob says, well done. Good. No, it was great stuff. Absolutely great stuff. So there's still ideas out there. There's still so much design space. There are a couple of other crazy ones. There was a cyber orc as well. They had mutations as new parts that could go on it. That was another that made the shortlist as well. There's just some great stuff. There's some really great stuff. So that was the Bonehead topic for the episode. That was the crazy one. Let's move on and explore real world Blood Bowl. We'll take a very, very quick break and we will be back with Spike
Before
9.
you move on,
Yes, what we got?
Before you move on, can I hijack this? Stephen has just said it was supposed to have Bonehead. So
it was supposed to have Bonehead.
Well, no, but thank you, Stephen. It was good all the same. So.
Bonehead probably works. Bonehead works. All right, fantastic. Right, we will be straight back with Spike 9. Ben, how are you holding up? You okay?
I'm doing good, yeah.
Fantastic. Guys in chat, thank you so much for joining us. This is great fun. It's very entertaining to hear you heckling along. Craig, thanks so much for the shout out, guys. Not wounded that much, to be fair. I don't play Skaven, but that is a beauty of a mini. It is indeed. That I'm going to track down a Medusa miniature. Right, yes. Ben, are you ready for some Spike?
Yeah. Always ready for some Spike.
All right, let's boot it up. I'm just going to start the recording and do the video. Okay, we are back and we are talking about real teams now. We've done a we had a great time talking about ridiculous players and made up stuff. And talking about made up stuff, Games Workshop have made up a new team, which is the Old World Alliance. Now, I know we spoke about it at the beginning of the episode, but Spike 9 is landing on Saturday. We're going to be doing opening unboxing review of the Old World Alliance, the pitch, the team card, and the spikes, either tomorrow or the next day, as soon as the loot arrives at Entoyment, who are helping us out with that again. So what we're going to do is we are going to look at Old World Alliance. We're going to look at the changes they've made to Underworld. We're not going to touch on Chaos Pact because they haven't changed. So not going to bother looking at those because nothing has changed in the way of Chaos Pact. So that's fine. So what we will do is we'll go straight into it. And now Ben and I, like we said earlier, we've played a couple of games. I've played a few games with the Underworld change using the mixed teams rules on Blood Bowl 2. We got one game in with Old World Alliance, and we've had 2 games on Fumble with Gutter World, with with the Gutter Runner version. So first team up, I cannot remember which way around I did this graphically. It's Old World Alliance. Here we go. Right, Old World Alliance. So this is a mix mash of teams. So they have advertised that it was going to be mixed teams. Not the kind of mixed teams that we like, not with our mixed team rules, but hey, we're getting there. So the Old World Alliance is 0 to 12 human lineman, 0 to 1 human thrower, 0 to 1 human catcher, and 0 to 1 human blitzer. So all of those guys are just as they are in the human team, but they come with animosity. So remember that will come in later. 0 to 2 dwarf blockers, 0 to 1 runner for dwarves, 0 to 1 dwarf blitzer, 0 to 1 dwarf troll slayer. All of those guys, again, exactly as the dwarf positionals, but with loner. Again, that will be very, very, very key. 2 halfling hopefuls, 0 to 2 halfling hopefuls, but it's part of the fun of this team is you're running a mixed, band of heroes. And most importantly of all, and this is what was not clear from the previews, 0 to 1 ogre, and the rerolls are 70k. 70k for each reroll. But half the team, more than half the team, normally as far as builds go, say normally, we brewed a few builds in the Discord and on Facebook and stuff, and the ones I came up with, you don't have a lot of human, and that is probably one of the things to really bear in mind. Just before we move on to more detail, star players, they got Barrack Farblast, which is the Hail Mary Pass dwarf star player. They got Flint Churnblade, Chainsaw Time for dwarves, Griff himself, Grim Ironjaw, which is the Strength 4 Slayer, Helmut Wolf, more chainsaw. So Matt's BBL in chat probably licking his lips at the thought of running 2 chainsaws. Carla Von Kill, Mighty Zug, Morgan Thorg, and Puggy. So they do get Bob Bifford, but he's a golden era star player, so it doesn't really count right now. So an interesting mix of stars. Will be fun to build for tournaments if you want to go the route of chainsaws or just a power build with stars. All right, really, really, really cool. So Ben, you played against Old World Alliance with me. How did you think they fared?
I thought it was just a really solid team. It felt more like playing humans than playing dwarves. Maybe that's just with the build. I'm not sure.
More
I
like
thought
playing
it,
against humans than it did against dwarves.
yeah, I think
Okay.
because you had the ogre there. Normally humans have 4 guys with block anyway. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
That's
yeah, it was kind of like you generally, you generally just it didn't have the speed and threat of a human team, but it was just really quite sturdy and quite difficult to break through.
it's a
Um,
yeah. It,
yeah,
it was a weird team. It's weird. So you look at it on the paper, and you're like, it's humans with some dwarf players and halflings for a throw teammate. How could this be anything other than brilliant? Like, and I know that was the first impression was, well, this is going to be
yeah,
a top of tier 2, tier 1 team here. This is going to be, this is going to make a difference. This is going to change things. So the roster I played was an ogre, a slayer, a human blitzer, a dwarf blitzer, 2 blockers, a thrower, a halfling, and 2 linemen with 3 rerolls. So had the throw teammate in there, had the ogre for the big guy bash, had slayer, blitzer, blitzer, blocker, blocker, 5 block pieces. And the thrower in there for sure hands. So had options. And I think the way this team is going to play as we go through the meta and we explore it is now correct me if you think I'm wrong here, Ben, but with a team like Khemri, it's very similar to the Beast of Nurgle. You are positioning your players without necessarily wanting to activate them or do too much with them. This
yeah,
team, where they suffer from loner, like up to the hilt, was very, very similar. So the first quarter of our game, I was going ham with dwarves because I'm like, yeah, dwarf, 1-die block, it'll be fine. Skull, failed the reroll because of loner and just failed at life because of dwarf. So I'm making blitzes with this with the troll slayer. Double push, fine, no worries. Into a skull, can't re-roll it because of loner. Because Ben,
yeah.
as we both know, that being able to roll a 4+ is not something I'm good with some players. For example,
Especially
trolls.
when it's important.
Especially when it's important. Although that could be restricted to anything above a 1.
Yeah, very true.
But you've got dwarves, you've got a load of block, you've got to play conservatively. You cannot take 1-die blocks. And I think the best way to consider this team is every heist movie on a Blood Bowl pitch. It's the beginning of every RPG. This band of people, this band of people, this band of people meet together and they have to do a thing, but they struggle because they don't know each other. And that's animosity, and that's loner. You're playing with essentially a bunch of star players who are just beginning their career. You
Yeah,
wouldn't necessarily ever take a 1-die block with a star player because you want to make sure the dice are on your side. I failed at that in the first quarter, burnt all 3 of my rerolls, and then I was SOL for that half. Simply out of luck, and it limited my actions. And then I had to lean on the humans, but because of my build, I only had 2 human linemen, a human thrower, and a human blitzer. So I only had 4 guys that actually could use my rerolls, and that made it a very different Blood Bowl experience.
yeah. And consequently, I think those humans kind of went out quite early, didn't they?
Oh, well, yes,
And
you
as
murdered
soon
me,
as
which didn't happen.
yeah, and as soon as they're gone, so I think if you're playing against this team, it's really key to take them out because as soon as they went, your turn's got to start getting pretty short because as soon as anything fails,
That's
that.
it. That's your turn. Yeah. So I think with this roster, I would probably take 1 less dwarf blocker.
You reckon?
Maybe no dwarf blockers and just have the extra lineman in there, because the ability to do stuff was really important. And a loner with Edge 2 is never going to be good with the ball. It's a last chance saloon kind of play. Maybe dropping one of those blockers, dropping both blockers, taking a human and then the dwarf runner instead. That's 1 more player that can use the rerolls and 1 more player with sure hands. And you just got to be really careful to strike with the human blitzer. But if you're striking with one of your block pieces, so the Slayer or the dwarf blitzer with block, you've got to have the 2 dice because loner is just going to limit you so much.
Yeah.
Couldn't believe it. It was a really interesting experience. I've never played a team like that. It is like a team of rubbish star players.
I'll tell you what it kind of felt like. I
Yeah,
think it felt more like an orc team.
more like an orc team because of what? Low agility, low movement.
Yeah, sort of. Like you got lower movement across the board. Like the blockers are a threat. Tacklers did come up, um, and they you still get those block pieces and they're durable. But also having the ogre with the halfling, there's that little throw teammate potential you've always got to watch out for. And when you have that one halfling who can just kind of sneak in, it's kind of that the goblin on the York team.
It is, but having loner to land is
Yes,
brutal.
that is brutal.
I guess, I mean, I understand it from a design point of view. These guys are human. They hate everybody that's not human. Animosity tick. Quite frankly, humans hate humans. So it's lucky that the human team doesn't have animosity. But when it comes to the halflings, I really think loner limited that team. You've still got the thing. Craig in chat saying sacrilege blood tithe. How dare you say that about orcs? But yeah, they've got the slow movement. You don't have the speed of the humans. I could have taken the catcher. The catcher could have been a massive game changer. So there are builds to explore. But I liked the front build. It gave me control, and quite frankly, did manage to squeak out the win 1-0. It was a slow team. It was a grindy team, and I felt like I was playing against my own team in a way that was less damaging than Bloodlust or that other kind of stuff. So
Yeah,
I think, to summary, if you want a challenge, if you want to build a team that's really unique, but you don't want to take stunty, this is there with Khemri and vampires in way of challenge. But I think the really interesting thing is you've got Chaos Pact, right? Chaos Pact, every player becomes unique real quick. You've got one goblin. That one goblin can be a Dauntless Horns 2-head guy. He can be a dodgy big hand bull retriever. This team is going to be very much like that. And when I say it's a team of star players, you start leveling them up and they will get... I don't think any team in Blood Bowl will have as much flavour as... Well, all right, Pact will. But this will be second place to Pact. If you like your good guys and you like unique players and you like a challenge, this tier 2 powerhouse is your Huckleberry, I think.
definitely. And on a similar note, I'm really looking forward to seeing what people do modeling wise
Oh yeah,
with this opportunity.
Absolutely. I've seen a few builds in some of I think maybe our Discord with the star players saying that actually you've got Carla, you've got Zug, you can do a lot of stuff in a tournament here at 1200. You limit it, but you've got some good options. And I think what did I see? I think Ben Davies looking at Zug and Puggy on this team together. So that's 400k. You've got a team that's very, very small. Other than that, it does beg the question of why not just run humans, but having those extra blockers on the line, having a couple of halflings to throw around adds a bit of spice. So if you go human heavy, you can play a human team with some extra players. They're exciting. If you go Old World Alliance heavy, you're going to have a challenge. But as they grow, they will be really interesting. And it does feel like a bunch of individuals coming together as opposed to Pact, where everyone can use the rerolls as a bit of animosity. They are already a team. These guys are never going to be a team. It's really interesting. So Old World Alliance, not the best team Games Workshop could have produced. I'm not going to say that. But it's here. It's going to be in the meta. And give it a go. It's a good challenge. With no new models. You've probably got models or half this team already. If you've got a human team, if you go halves with someone on a dwarf team and just add dwarves to your humans and give it a go. It's not a bad way to try a different game. Let's just check chat. Have we missed anything else? The loner thing sucks. Yes, it does. Chaos Renegades is the only mixed team worth playing. It depends.
We'll talk about Underworld. I do. Yeah.
Underworld are great, and I don't think the change has murdered them being great. Matt's BBR, I think I would still prefer Pact. Yeah, Access lets you skill into anything. It really does. Pact becomes the most unique team in the game. But I think Old World Alliance, you're going to start to love your players and hate them as well. They're going to have more personality in that regard. Everybody loves a big guy blitz. You've got 7 of them. It's really interesting. And go for it's just suck when you have to roll a 4+. If you get it wrong. Okay, so let's move on to team number 2. Underworld Denizens. So much rage, which then gave birth to so many memes. which is quite entertaining of itself. So what happened with Underworld is you used to be able to take 2 blitzers, 2 linemen, 2 throwers for Skaven. That's now been retconned to 3 linemen, 1 blitzer, 1 thrower, and 1 gutter runner. So I have labelled this Gutter World, which does sound like a terrible Greek sort of theme park, water park. But it's interesting, and we actually played 2 games with the Gutter World build. So Ben, talk me through your thoughts on Underworld now.
Okay, I love Underworld. It's not a team I had played before until last night, where I got to play both versions. It's just fun. It's like playing Goblins, but your players are good. It gives you all the fun of well, you don't get the secret weapons, obviously, that's quite a big deal, but you can just lob cheap players around. You got stunties to dodge everywhere.
Oh yes, you can.
Stunty is actually a pretty good skill.
This is the team where Stunty is great.
Exactly, it's fantastic. You can go really sneaky. It's a proper sneaky team, and having strength 3, movement 7 players turns out it's really good to have to back them up, because they can play the game extremely well. We all know Skaven's a top tier team, and you have the best bits of Skaven, and yeah.
So my question to you is, which is more fun, the Gutter World or Underworld?
Last night when I played it, it was Gutter World, honestly. I think...
I was going to say...
you carry on.
No, I was only going to say, why is that?
Oh, well, I think when you have that movement 9 Edge 4 player with dodge, it just gives you so much more opportunity. When I was playing the original one, it was so much more grindy. I had to break through. I had to, push up. Skaven is still fast, but they're not, easily scoring in 2 turns without any problems fast. A gutter gives you that option. It gives you that threat. You only need to be a couple of squares ahead, and you can quickly dodge out and make a touchdown. And it's always constant pressure from it.
So the interesting thing here, this is why this was a great case study, is because Ben, I don't think ever played against Underworld. Have you played against them at all?
I don't. Have
I played you at Club with mine? I don't know. Milton was building one. I don't know.
I don't think I ever played them.
It's a bit of an unloved team. So it was great to see you play with both builds. And the really interesting thing is that the team you won with very handily, you thought was less fun than the team you lost with.
Yes. Honestly, yes.
Which is really interesting. So the Underworld Denizens will quickly go over the roster, because we've got some questions in chat. So 0 to 12 Goblins, they're standard Goblins. They get mutation on normal. 0 to 3 Skaven Linemen, so that's 7337 50k. With Animosity, they get general and mutation on normal. 0 to 1 Gutter Runner, 80k, 9247, second best player in the game. That's a skill. Animosity and mutation on a double there for the Gutter Runner. So exactly, literally lifted out of the Skaven team. 0 to 1 Skaven Thrower, Animosity, and 0 to 1 Skaven Blitzer, Animosity. Both of those bad boys get mutations on a normal. And the Troll gets mutation on a normal. So 0 to 1 Underworld Troll, 110k, Troll stuff, Strength mutation. So you still get that on a normal. Easy Claw or Tentacles. Tentacles seems to be a really solid build. Gutter Runner getting the mutation on a double, it's probably a power thing. It probably just limits that power. For me, the biggest question of this team, and I don't know if Rob, if you're still in chat, I don't know if you could see if there's anything that it talks about, is because the Gutter Runner isn't listed as a Skaven Gutter Runner, I think it falls afoul of the Animosity. So when I built these teams in Fumble so that we could try them out, I applied that rule because the Gutter Runner doesn't have a race. We all know it's Gutter Runner. We all know it's a Skaven, sorry, but it doesn't say it. So rules as written, I wanted to try it out. Rob, sorry, man, if you've got the spike at all, just have a quick look and see if it says the Skaven Gutter Runner is a Skaven or whether it's just a Gutter Runner. Because obviously Gutter Runners are a specific type of player, and in the fluff they're ninjas and they may not want to play with Underworld Denizens. I don't know, the Animosity might hurt, which did hurt me in my drive. So we played Old World Alliance against the new Gutter World build, which you loved. That was it was a tough game. And then we played new Underworld against old Underworld. I ran the new Underworld, so we both got to play it, and you ran the old Underworld. And I've played Underworld before. I managed to squeak out a win using a slave giant against a very big orc team once. That's my probably proudest moment with that team. And you're exactly it. You're bang on the money there, Ben. You've got 6 players that can do things, and then you've got a bunch of cheeky goblins that can just... So you've got a bit of both. You've got the medium of both worlds. Now, this does level up your thrower, essentially, to have movement 9 and agility 4. You do lose that other blitzer. And when your gutter runner gets taken out, because it will get taken out because there's only one, it makes your team really, really hard to pilot at that point.
Yeah, you're at a big disadvantage.
And that did happen in our game in a most
in the best way possible.
Spectacular manner. If you guys get bored or want to do some painting or something, do watch our games. They'll be on YouTube. And the Underworld versus Underworld match is ridiculous fun. But it's also a very good way to see how both teams play out. We were just focusing on playing the teams rather than winning, despite the score in one of the games. But yeah, it's changed how Underworld feel. Before, they were reasonably reliable with goblin nonsense as well. Now, they are more stretch and they're more fragile. So they've kind of... It's Underworld with NOS, okay? It's going to go faster, but it might blow up on you.
Oh, sorry, Rob says Skaven Gutter Runner wouldn't fit in the table. See, I do think it's intended to be a Skaven Gutter Runner because it is a big deal, because obviously you kind of want your thrower to pick up the ball and give it to the gutter. But
that hurt. That did hurt me.
It did hurt. It did. I think they will release some kind of FAQ saying it because it is a rat. I think if it didn't, it would cause a lot of confusion on the tabletop where you have your obvious Skaven.
I think a new player coming into the game, it's a Skaven Gutter Runner. I think, I imagine it's going to get FAQ'd. Josh De Silva in chat, rip Warhammer Underworld players. That troll model is going to be ridiculously popular with Underworld players. That is a great point, Josh. Molog would make a superb Underworld troll, and he's only about, what, £18 for the and you get a bunch of cool squigs to use as just goblins really, but all turn markers. That is good job.
Amazing. That
is a really great shout. Hot take here. So Underworld has changed, and if you run the 2016 rules, it's just different. It felt different. It did feel more exciting, and it did feel more risky. So I love doing risky stuff with Gutter. You've got to be real careful. Rob says, isn't he too big? He is not too big. There's no such thing as a model that's too big for Blood Bowl. But I think he comes on a 50mm base, and you can just put him on a 40. It'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll squeeze on one.
That's not just me benning things. That's you can use him. So star players for this team: Bomber Dribble Snot, so that's the Bombardier. Glart Smash Rip, that is the chunky Skaven star. Gobbler Grimlick is the Chaos Frogman. Hack Flem Shuttle Spike is just one of the most fantastic star players out there. He's the Skaven 9347 dodge, extra arms, loner, prehensile tail, 2 heads. Guy's amazing at 200k. Creek Rustgouger, everybody's favourite Fezglitch. He has leveled up with an extra 2 squares of movement and Mighty Blow as a ball and chain, so that's not bad.
Wow, okay.
Madcap Miggs, which is the Squig Rider. Morgan Thorg, I have heard of him. Nobbler Blackwort, so you can get a chainsaw. Skitter Stab, so if you want a second gutter, he is your Huckleberry at 160k. The Underworld team is pretty cheap. In our builds, I had 4, well, the Gutter World had 4 rerolls and an Apothecary, which amusingly you and I both used to keep our blitzers alive. Then wasn't available when my Gutter Runner caught a goblin in the face. And the standard Underworld roster has 4 rerolls. So in a tournament, you could drop a reroll, maybe use a skill to get leader on the thrower as a regular to replace that, and then have enough money to take either Skitter or Hackflem, and then you've got yourself a really cool, really good team. I think
Skitter is a really good take in this team.
Dude, Hackflem is better in my opinion.
You reckon?
He's strength 3.
Oh yeah. Okay, definitely.
Yeah,
he's a lot more expensive. Oh, quite a bit more expensive.
I got the I was lucky enough to take my Chaos Halflings in round 4 against a Skaven team with both of them. And let me tell you, I was way more upset about Hackflem than I was Skitter Stab. Interestingly enough, you can watch me suffer in that match on YouTube as well. That was the last round of Bonehead Bowl 2 on Fumble. both of these teams, the Old World Alliance and the Underworld Denizens, have got a bunch of toolkit. So they've got an incredible number of builds with star players. And also they've got great weapons there to be able to use in League for catch-up. Creek Rust Gouger for 130k is going to terrify your opponent. So if you're 150k down, yes, is it better than a wizard? Maybe. It's going to terrify the heck out of your opponent. A movement 5 ball and chain flying around. This team is super fun. It's not as fun as Goblins, but it's fun with an opportunity to win. And this is a high risk, high reward team. I think it got more interesting. I think it might have got worse ever so slightly in the long run, but it is more interesting, more high octane. And as far as changes go, it's okay. It's up to you to play it through and find out. But having one sprue of Skaven, you can split a Skaven box if you've got a Goblin team and you've got an Underworlds team. That's what's that now? What is that? Like £8.50 now for you to be able to upgrade your Goblin team to an Underworld team.
Yeah, it's even less if they release the Blitzball boxes. I think maybe
probably be more.
Not. Yeah, it probably would actually.
But
saves you having to split it with a friend. But yeah.
Exactly. You can either pick up this box and then find a troll. Mollog is a great one. Or you split a Skaven box with a Goblin friend, or just anybody who's after Skaven. Or you do Hangover Bowl like Ben, and you just get a sprue of Skaven. I mean, it's what, £10 on eBay anyway. It's really interesting. It is a change, and they have moved the cheese, but the new cheese is fun. It's fun cheese. Ben, did you have any final thoughts on Underworld, Old World Alliance?
Only that you said not as fun as Goblins. I would maybe even disagree and say I think I had more fun playing this team than Goblins. That was a small sample. I want to give it another go, so I might make an Underworld team, give it a run in a tournament or something.
Goblins have no chance to win. They got 10% chance to win normally. Underworld, you're looking at 35-40% chance of winning.
It's decent.
You get that rush, don't you? You're like, oh, I'm going to win this. I could win this. Yeah. I could score maybe even 3 touchdowns, Ben, in a game with Underworld.
And then your gutter gets splattered.
Oh, the gutter. Yeah, if you got to get splattered, you are having a tough time. But again, both of these teams, and I think this whole spike is about individual players being unique. And each one of these 3 teams, you're going to have individuals who are going to have character. They're going to get skills. They're going to become their own thing. And if you like narrative Blood Bowl, these 3 teams are definitely ones you should play. I think if you like narrative Blood Bowl, you like the story, you like players becoming unique, individual, and having character to them, then you are doing yourself a disservice if you don't try out these teams. And I think that will be all I say on Spike 9 for now. Obviously, we'll go through an unboxing review as soon as I get my hands on a copy. But yeah, let me know what you guys think as you're playing them. Just have a go. Then we've got one little announcement, or little giant announcement, to move on to, and that'll be the end of the show. So we're going to take a very short break, and we'll be back with our announcement. How you doing, Ben? How you doing, chat? Everyone all right?
I'm good. Marcus Decaz says, Goblins are more fun in theory. Losing only secret weapons can be painful. Yes, I do agree.
That's a really good point. I mean, secret weapons will lose themselves as well, which is pretty tough.
Yeah.
Which is, I'm going to say, a tough gig.
I think you're right where it's like Goblin. Underworld feels like a Goblin team with the chance to win. You have some good players.
Oh, man.
Not having the Doom Diver sucks, but...
I said giant.
Oh, no. You almost got there.
I did. I made it all the way to Spike, to the last part of the segment without saying giant.
1 hour 37. That's a new record.
All right. I'm happy with that. That's not bad. I should have done the timer, but I couldn't figure out how to get the widget working. Okay, so we will do the announcement and then we'll wrap up the episode, Ben, if you're okay with that.
Yeah, that sounds good.
It's video time. Okay, so the video said details coming soon, and the details, it is now time for details. So we are going to be talking about Mega Bowl. And let me just give a bit of a preface for this one. So Mega Bowl is going to be our next tabletop tournament in theory. So let me give a bit of background. Every year we hold 4 tournaments: Beachhead in February, Bonehead Bowl in May, Sewer Bowl Sevens in August, and Tombstone Tournament in October. This year the world has gone crazy. It's been a very bad situation for many people. We were lucky enough to be able to get to play at the BIC, which was awesome. We had 40 coaches. We were at a convention. There were thousands of gamers. It was just an incredibly great time. So I'm really glad we got to do Beachhead. But due to the global situation, and rightly so, we had to pause all of our other tournaments. We had to stop mixed team madness. There was Bonehead Bowl in May, and we will be cancelling Sevens Super Series. No, wait, we're not cancelling that. That's paused. Sewer Bowl Sevens in August because it's just too soon. We can't make everything work. So we're still locked in for Tombstone, which is in October. It's on October 31st, Saturday, October 31st. And we were chatting through some stuff and an idea struck. We have got a prize pool for these tournaments. We've got ideas for these tournaments. We've got teams. We've got great rules for these tournaments. We've got 1 slot left. And what we're going to do is we're going to combine them all together into one event. It's a game day. And it is Mega Bowl. And I know it's a really lame name. And those of you who grew up in the 90s may think of it as a bowling alley that sometimes had Laser Quest attached. But you know what? I'm happy with that.
That's where I heard it before.
Yeah, Mega Bowl. It was wicked. There's Laser Quest. They had Crystal Maze there for a while as well. But that just proves that Mega Bowl is a name that unites great things. I think there was a Wimpy. It was pretty cool. And of course the arcade. Anyway, massively digressing there. So that brings about Mega Bowl. It's planned to be on Saturday, October 31st at Entoyment, and it's going to be a very unique event. And I'm very excited. Tickets are just going to be £10 as ever, which is to cover venue cost and make sure that I can do everybody's loot packs like I always do. So I don't think that's too bad. And we are basically got the prize pool from Bonehead Bowl, from Sewer Bowl, and from Tombstone. We're just going to put it all together and have one mega event. So here's what's cool about it. We're going to take the mixed team rules from Bonehead Bowl. We're going to add to them the scary teams, the horror teams from Tombstone. And we're going to introduce a little bit of Sevens element as well. We're going to have a 4-round tournament with rounds 2 and 3 being Sevens format. But it's just one team. So you choose your team. And the build is going to be 1.1 million. And you come in, you play a game of 11s. Everybody swaps over to 7s. You play a game of 7s. You have lunch. You play another 7s. And you finish the day with an 11s format for a 4-round day. Where the teams are concerned, we're using mixed teams rules from Bonehead Bowl, including the newly added team. So hopefully Snotlings will be here by then. Old World Alliance are going to be involved in that. And for this event, we are going to include both Underworld rosters because I think it's just appropriate that for the next few months we keep it. I think the NAF rules thingy is going to be November. This will not be a NAF tournament. We're including secret teams, so it's just not worth the hassle. We've got secret teams, we've got mixed teams. It's not worth it. No one will get any records, so it's not worried about it too much. We're just going to have a great time. But yes, introducing the horror teams, the mixed teams, and the regular teams, which I think has gone up to like 28 or 29 teams now. There is nearly 500 teams to choose from for this event.
Not a lot, though.
Not a lot, indeed. I've missed my spot now. That's 424 possible mixed team rosters, which I think might actually be a little bit more than that now, and a whole bunch of other teams. So, and for the format, we think it'd be a really cool list building test to include 7s, and we love 7s. So first game will be full pitch, full rules. The next game will be 7s. The next game will be 7s. The next games will be 11. You get one team, and when it comes to playing the 7s roster, the 7s match, you choose 11 of your players, and you run with that. So I think most teams at 1100 TV are only going to be running 12 or 13 players anyway, but you get to choose your 11 players. Once you've found out what your opponent is, you tick them off on your roster, you deploy them, and you have a great 7s match. So you've got to build knowing that you're going to be deploying for 2 games, not on the line of scrimmage. So I think that's quite an interesting build challenge. Builds are going to be 1100, so 1.1 million. Modern and legacy stars are both allowed. I'm in the process of updating our Google Sheet so that all the options are on there for everybody. I'm going to get it out as soon as I can. It will confuse things when Snotlings land, if they land, which I imagine they're going to land in September. I've just got this feeling, but that's okay. We'll get it together by that. Skills wise, it all depends on tier. We've got tier rules for mixed teams. Basically, it's your tier doubled if you have a single team type. It's them added together if you have mixed teams. So if you have Wood Elves, which are tier 1, and Halflings, which are tier 3, your team is there for a tier 4 team, which would get 2 normals and 2 doubles. So it's that's the way round that we are doing things. Skills can be stacked and stuff like that. I'm not going to worry about that. The full rule pack will be out hopefully this week. But we are planning this to be a full-on celebration of Blood Bowl. Background, modelling, painting, roster building, tactics, everything we love about the very best fantasy game out there, in my opinion. So come along, get involved, get back to planning for a tournament in a really big way. So those of you that were planning on coming to play some sevens, there's still going to be sevens. Those of you that are planning to play a mixed team, you can bring your mixed team. Those of you that are coming to play a horror team from the Secret League, you can still do that. But those of you that just have a halfling team and want a good laugh or want to prove a point to all of your friends with your Wood Elf sweet build, you can still come and play Blood Bowl. Because it's us, we're planning on live streaming the feature matches throughout the day. Not sure how much I'm going to be able to manage. It depends on how many people turn up. And how many people I can drag into it. I know that BT here, Blood Tithe Ben, is going to be on the other side of the world, essentially.
Yeah, I'll be on holiday. Well,
in theory,
if international travel is fully allowed, then hopefully I'll be on holiday. But so we'll see. Play it by ear.
So that brings us to the biggest point about this, and that is what we're planning to do for Mega Bowl, and we really hope it can go ahead. Gives everybody 3.5 months to plan. It gives the world 3.5 months to calm down. Unfortunately, there is a prediction that in 2 months, things are going to get the opposite of calm again. And we're going to be paying very close attention to all the health advice out there, and we'll do everything we can to make sure that people are as safe as possible, because that's just the most important thing. I'm a compliance manager by trade, and I grew up watching Star Trek: The Next Generation. So the thought of putting anyone at harm upsets me in a personal and professional manner. So isn't going to happen. There is a very real threat that lockdown could happen again, and it will stop it. But that's the beauty of this event, is that no matter what happens, we have a plan. So if lockdown reoccurs and we have to cancel the tournament, because it's the right thing to do, we have got at least one painting competition and at least one fumble event lined up. Hopefully, we'd like to link these in regardless beforehand, so look out for details in that. It'll be kind of on the way to September time. If the event is cancelled, we will run an all-day fumble event on October 31st. So regardless, you will be able to play a bunch of Blood Bowl on that day. And of course, it will include secret teams regardless. We're thinking that a 4-round warm-up tournament before the event could be cool too, but there are some other events in Fumble going on, so we may not be able to pull that off. But what I would like to do is towards the end of September, have a 4-round tournament leading up to the actual event itself, and then one way or another have a 1-day Blood Bowl tournament on the 31st. I think could be really cool. We've got some very good prize support for this, and I know that Ben's going to hopefully be helping us out with some more using the magic of his 3D printer.
Yeah, I'll get that cranking out as soon as possible, and hopefully update people.
And we got 3 months to prep, and we got a plan. But there is one more thing that we're not quite ready to announce, and it's in conjunction with Rob of Secret Carnage, who is probably loitering in the chat still. Rob, it's that idea we were talking about last week. It's not something we've done before. I personally think it's I think it's really cool. So more on that soon. Just need to tie the details in with Rob. But I think that rounds up the full announcement of Mega Bowl, what it is. And the rules pack will be out soon. Let me know what you think. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you're planning on coming. But to summarise, it's a bunch of mixed teams. It's a bunch of secret teams. You can bring your normal teams as well. It's going to be 2 games of normal Blood Bowl, 2 games of sevens, and a whole bunch of prizes and things like that as well. For those of you who are secret team and secret league and stunty league fans, let me just quickly read out the list of teams that are available because they are horror themed. So Beastman team, Clan Pestilence, Khorne, Slaanesh and Tzeentch. Chaos Halflings, because you cannot not have Chaos Halflings, the best team. Demons of Khorne, Demons of Nurgle, Demons of Slaanesh, Demons of Tzeentch, Horrors of Tzeentch from the Stunty League, Nurglings from the Stunty League, Ethereal Team, the Golem Team, the Were Team, Ben, and Undead Pirates. We've got all the different Khemri variants, so Karsabar, Liberus, Marak, Numas, Resetra, Zandri, and then there's some really cool vampire builds as well. Blood Dragon, Lamian, Necrarch, Strigoi, Van Karstein, and Stragoyan from the Stunty League. So that's another...
If you're looking for modelling opportunities, there's a couple of these teams, I think 2 or is it 3 of them are in your Sevens videos on YouTube.
Ethereal are, Were Team are, and Marak are. Yeah, you're exactly right.
Yeah.
And
I'll give you a bit of an idea of what you can kind of do with modelling.
And Chaos Halflings, I suppose.
Oh, of course, yeah.
But we didn't want to give up any one part of what we love about Blood Bowl. So building a mixed team, you can do it. Building a secret team that's horror themed for fun, you can do that as well. Just bringing along a Blood Bowl team that you love, you can do that. And I like the idea of mixing up the meta a bit by having those Sevens games in there. So you can take your stacked Guard Chaos Dwarf build, but for 2 games, those Chaos Dwarves aren't going to be able to make it into combat for at least a turn per half. And it changes up that meta ever so slightly. Not that with 481 teams available, you can have a meta, but this is a game day. This is a tournament. But this is really about celebrating all the nonsense that we love about Blood Bowl. And I'm not expecting 40 people to come to this tournament, but as long as a few do, it doesn't even matter. We are going to have a great day with some great teams and some great coaches. And I really think that if you love Blood Bowl and you're anywhere near Poole in October, then I think you should come along because we're going to have a great day. And Ben's going to commute from Thailand.
Won't make any promises for that.
Take his private jet. No, that's next year, the Blood Bowl World Tour. That's the dream. Bonehead Podcast World Tour.
Oh, that'd be great.
So that is Mega Bowl. What I'm going to do is just quickly bounce back to our hobby screen, probably, and just check chat before we sign off. What do we got? I've hidden a thing. Had to go over the team reviews. Glad I came back for that though. 4 games for a tournament will be fun. I'm amazed how it's nowhere near the expense of a London price. Very reasonable. Entoyment do a great deal for us, so it means we can charge the minimum amount possible to cover our costs. And then because we've got so much prize support already, we can still do a really good job, hopefully, with the prizes. Cool horror theme. Stephen Knowles. Hope you have flash floods in the 11's kickoff. I don't think we're going to go for a fancy kickoff table this time around. It's not on a kid weekend. Get in. About. Yeah, it might be a little bit too much to go along with the 480 teams. Mark Pilgrim. It's not on a kid weekend. Get in. Just have to convince the missus. Mark, there are multiple different vampire teams that you can play. I know MJ Pilgs is the Vampire Lord, but that's Blood Dragon, Lamian, Necrarch, Strigoi, Von Karstein. Von Karstein is cool. They all come with pro. Rodrigo Sanchez, how are you? Craig Nash, it would be ace for me. I only play 11s, would give me a chance to practice 7s. It's cool. Troll Ogre team, Dan Brooks, that's it. Love 7s, says Mark. So that was cool. I just want to say a big thank you to everybody who's joined us in the chat for this episode. And hopefully you guys listening, a normal podcast. It's not been awful, but do let me know, and we'll do a better job next time. Ben, thank you as ever for joining me on the podcast.
No problem. It's been good fun. Really enjoyed this.
Been really good. We are going to wrap it up now. So thank you to everyone for joining us. Thank you very much for listening. We've got a lot of other Blood Bowl content coming out in the next few weeks, so just stay on either in our Discord or on YouTube or Facebook or Instaface or Twitter, whatever works for you. We try our best to just hang out with you guys as much as possible. I will personally be back Sunday night and Tuesday night to stream some games. I think getting in another zombie game soon. But otherwise, I'll probably be jamming some new Underworld to really put it to the test. So I am going to wrap up the stream. And Ben, I will catch you later.
Bye-bye.
Cheers, guys. See you later. Sweet. Guys in chat, thank you ever so much. That was great fun. I hopefully it wasn't terrible and wasn't too disjointed.
Thanks for all the questions as well, everyone in chat.
Seriously,
honestly, it's really fun to have that interaction. it really adds in like a lot to the podcast.
I tell you what, man, I was kind of nervous. There was a lot of stuff lined up there. It didn't go terribly, which is good.
No.
But it's so different when we do the podcast normally, because we can just stop, go away,
Yep.
come back, focus on a podcast bit. It was really cool. It was really cool. Right, I'm going to sign off, guys, because I now need to upload this to edit it so it can be out for Saturday morning. So I will see you all later. And yeah, cheerio.